All right, welcome to the LBA's first draft analysis for the Blue Division. My name is SandshrewBogut. I'm the interim, commissioner for the LBA, and I'm joined by two of the admins, Mr. Murkrow
What's up, guys? Mr. Murkrow, also in the Blue Division, coach of the Shadow Valley Murkrows.
and also Esquillo.
What's up, guys? Esky here. I'm in the red division, but I'm helping these guys making a draft analysis for the blue division.
So, what we're going to do today, or tonight, is we're just going to look over each team. Each one of us gave them a number grade between 1 and 10. One of us was more generous than the others, but overall, we're pretty fair about it. We'll give reasons for why we thought each draft got the grade that it did, where we think they could have improved or where they fell short, and what their strengths are. So we will start with the defending champion, Matt, the Surrey Litheo. Matt won the league last season. Pretty much every season, he's one of the top guys, and this draft was no exception. He's my highest grade for our division. He is a 9 for mine. We'll start. What did you guys give him?
I'm gonna give him an 8.
I also gave him a 9 because his team is really spooky. The more you look at it,
Yeah, so
it's
he got
scarier.
Yeah, he's terrifying. He got Kieran B, Hippowdon, Starmie, Bisharp, Superior, Mega Altaria, Chansey, Darmanitan, Keldeo round 9, and Volcarona. So his team could potentially sweep you with everybody except for his two defense pokes, which are two of the strongest ones. The only reason I didn't give him a 10 is because he doesn't have a ton of defensive versatility. He's probably almost always going to bring Hippowdon and Chansey unless he goes hyper offense, and that makes it a little bit easier to plan for. But other than that, he's got everything. He's got multiple ways to set up hazards. He's got one of the best rapid spinners in the game. He's got like 4 of the best sweepers in the game with Bisharp, Superior, Altaria, and Darmanitan. He's just terrifying.
Not to mention Keldeo as well.
Yeah, Keldeo can be limited in a format like this when you can plan for him because his move pool's slow, but it doesn't matter when you can't switch in.
It does super well, so...
Yeah, exactly. Like, it doesn't matter that you know what set he's going to have on the Keldeo when you're going to die to a Hydro Pump every time. So, like, I'm okay with that. What do you guys think?
His team is extremely strong, and he does have 2 really great walls in Hippowdon and Chansey, but like you said, not much wall versatility. He could run bulky Starmie, he could run bulky Altaria, but one thing that I definitely see as a problem is that he doesn't have much of anything for a strong wall breaker, and his team is also very, very slow, which are both big problems.
First thing that I actually noticed when I look at his team, like more attention, I saw that basically, apart from who was it, Darmanitan and Keldeo and Bisharp, any of all of his Pokemon can get like reliable, can get recovery. Like Kirby gets Roost, Starmie gets Recover, Superior gets Synthesis, Hippowdon Slack Off, even Volcarona gets Roost, so he can go a bit more defensive with some options that people might not expect, like Volcarona or even Kieran B, and still do a lot of work. I really like his team. I gave him a 9 basically because I don't really like Chansey, that's all.
It's totally fair.
I don't really like Chansey.
Yes, I think we're pretty much all agreed that he's, if not the strongest, one of the top teams in the league again, and the fact that he's really good is also going to be a problem for everybody else. So next up we have the London Dragonites, or D-Train, who was the champion 2 seasons ago. This season he drafted Conkeldurr, Mega Venusaur, Thunderous Eye, Gengar, Alakazam, Infernape, Seismitoad, Cobalion, Druddigon, and Sneasel with his round 10 picks. So I actually thought that when we were, at least when I was grading each of these drafts, I thought of it independently, so I didn't think of the draft in terms of who drafted him. I was just trying to look at it by itself. So I thought he actually had the weakest draft in the division. I gave him a 5. I felt like his first 3 picks were really strong. But I thought after that, Gengar and Alakazam kind of play the same role of that fast, hard-hitting, kind of frail guy. Even Infernape does as well. I don't really like his defense. Seismitoad is really easy to plan for. Cobalion isn't... He's fine, I just don't think he's great for this format. And then he doesn't really have any defense outside of Mega Venusaur. So he has a lot of speed and he has some bulk, but I don't like the synergy of it at all. What did you guys think, Merc?
All right, so I gave him a 6, and there's definitely a lot of questionable things about his draft. He starts off with Conk and Mega Venusaur, and just starting off with 2 strong attackers that are very bulky just screams that you should be making a team that's a bulky offense. But in following that, everything that he drafted that has strong offensive potential is super frail, which just works really poorly together. And then he just does not have much in the way of bulk. Seismitoad is bulky, but it's got that 4 times weakness to grass. Cabalion's I really like Cabalion. It's a great 8th round pick because it can do a lot of things. And Druddigon has been growing on me. It's pretty decent. It gets that Rocky Helmet rough skin, and it's rather defensive. But aside from that, he just doesn't have much bulk. It's pretty much going to be Mega Venusaur and Seismitoad and maybe Druddigon and maybe even Cabalion. But his defensive mons just kind of lack instant recovery and are easy to take down. So I just don't see that as a very good thing, especially when pretty much all of his attackers, Nyx, Conkeldurr, are very, very frail.
Yeah, absolutely. Eski?
Mark said basically everything. I also gave D a 5, and the first thing that came to mind with this team was either kill or get killed, and basically that's what's going to happen with these. Only Venusaur gets reliable recover, so and his switch-ins for like defensive or taking hits is going to be super limited. So if someone exploits that well, D will have a lot of trouble this season. So
Yeah, absolutely.
that's basically it.
I think one thing you see in this league and like the GBA and all these other drafting leagues every season is that defensive versatility is huge. The ability to switch in when someone brings a set you don't expect is usually what's going to win or lose you the game. And like you said, there's not a lot that he can switch into here safely at all. Like Gengar, Alakazam, and Infernape, if he brings them in, and even Thundurus can't really switch in safely unless it's on like a ground attack. So that's really tough. Also, he doesn't. One thing I'm looking at is that he doesn't have any form of hazard removal at all.
That as well. Yeah.
And I think he only has Infernape and Seismitoad to set up hazards, and Infernape setting up Cobalion. You're right. So he's got options there.
As well.
So he's got
so there you go. That's my bad. But he doesn't have any way to get rid of it. Yeah, and he's not particularly weak to hazards. But when your team is so frail with a lot of your attackers, I know Alakazam doesn't get hurt, but you gotta have some way to deal with it. So we'll see. I mean, maybe he'll figure out some way around it, but I'm not feeling too high on his draft.
Also, he has very few resistances to common, really overpowering offensive typings like flying and
a mixed Crobat, for example, completely destroys this team with Giga Drain and Brave Bird. That's basically all it needs to just rip this team apart.
Yeah, I think he's going to have some problems when, especially when people are creative about how to deal with the little defense that he does have. So next up, we have the Los Angeles Nidokings, which is the coach is JJ. And he's always a very strong team. This season he drafted Weavile, Garchomp, who he loves. That's like his signature guy he gets every season. Togekiss, Metagross, Milotic, Rotom Heat, Mega Charizard Y, Shaman, Scolipede in the 9th round, and Hitmonlee. So I thought he had one of the stronger drafts. Eski, what did you think? What did you grade him?
I gave him an 8. I really love his team. I almost gave him a 9, but he picked Rotom H, and then he picked Megazard Y. And I don't know what was he thinking, because I think he picked Rotom H round 6. If he wanted an electric type, there was still Thundurus Terran on the board at the time. So I don't know why he picked both 2 fire types, one after another, but it can still work really well for him. But I gave him an 8 basically because of that, but his team is super spooky. He has Togekiss, Garchomp, Weavile. That's amazing. Metagross, Milotic, that's super bulky. And Scolipede round 9 is a steal. And then Hitmonlee and Shaman. His team is really solid. I just don't understand the Rotom Heat with the Megazard Y one after another, though.
But I'm right there with you. That's a fair point. Merc, what'd you give him?
I also am giving him an 8. He's got a lot of really good things going for him Rotom Heat, Mega Charizard Y, unless he's going for Fire Spam, in which Specs overheats from Rotom Heat is going to be very scary. Seemed like a little lack of foresight, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on it. He's got a really solid defensive core. He's got nice defensive versatility, which is one thing that you really like. And he's just got overall a really good display of revenge killers and wall breakers, and he has some good priority as well. So overall, it's really nice.
Yeah, so I nitpicked a little bit more than you guys did. I gave him a 7. I thought, like you guys both said, he's got a really good draft. The Rotom H Zard pick, I think I get a little bit because you take the good Mega when it's there, and Megazard Y is always really scary, but it's a little redundant there. Uh, I don't love his defense, was my main critique. Togekiss and Milotic are both probably going to be his most important defensive guys the entire season, and they both have that electric weakness. He covers it a little bit with Rotom and Shaman, and I guess Garchomp too, but HP Ice is easy to plan for. So I don't love his defense, but I think his offense is going to be really, really strong. That Weavile Garchomp combo with Megazard X, or Megazard Y, excuse me, is going to be a problem for people.
Yeah, he has a lot of offensive versatility, and that's things like Scolipede and Hitmonlee are two things you definitely cannot sleep on, since they have the ability to just 6-0 an unprepared team.
Yeah, I thought the Scolipede pick at the end was really, really strong.
It was a steal. Round 9 Scolipede is a damn steal, in my opinion.
Yeah. So next up we have Merc, the Shadow Valley Murkrows. So he has a draft of Manaphy, Excadrill, Sylveon, Entei, Mega Manectric, Amoonguss, which he gets every season. That's his signature guy. Crobat.
Everybody has one.
Yeah, you all got that guy you like Typhlosion for Esky. Crobat, Tyranitar, Klefki, and Uxie. So Merc, I'm not going to ask you to rate yourself because you'd give yourself a 10.
Yeah.
But if you just want to give us just a couple thoughts on what you're going for during the draft, what you were thinking about.
Well, right off the bat, wanted Manaphy. It's probably the most splashable thing in draft leagues as of recent, and I definitely wanted my hands on it since it's a very dangerous setup sweeper in multiple ways. And then I just kind of took things as they came. Basically, all I knew is I wanted Manaphy and I wanted Amoonguss at some point, and I basically just picked for the best synergy I could with what was available.
Yeah, I
So
think
somehow I managed to get Excadrill and then T-Tar with the sand for round 8.
yeah, that was stupid. That was stupid by all of us.
Oh my god.
Like we can see
I
it
can't
there.
believe Titar went round 8, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best last couple round pick in the entire division. Just because T-Tar is such a problem, especially with Excadrill being there. I gave you an 8. I thought you were one of the strongest drafts in the league. I thought you might have been the second best draft in the division behind Matt. I love Sylveon in this format, even because people have run physical Sylveon before. Tyler, the old commissioner, did that and just slaughtered with it. I think Manaphy's a good pick. I thought it was a little high to pick Manaphy that high, but that's just nitpicking for the sake of it at that point. I think you have really good defensive versatility. You have some of the fastest pokes in the game. Every season, the dudes who have the highest speed tiered Pokemon tend to do really, really well, and you have Manectric and Crobat, which right there is two of the fastest, so that's going to cause issues.
And the Excadrill under the sand. So
Very true. Yeah, you have a lot of speed.
Wave and extreme speed.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of free switches. I just thought you had a really strong team. I didn't love the Uxie pick. That's my only really thing. Not really a fan of Uxie, but that's more of a personal thing.
I kind of agree with the Uxie pick at the end. I'll explain why in a while.
Yeah, go ahead. That's it for me.
For me, I love this draft. Manaphy round 1. If he doesn't pick round 1, Manaphy is definitely going to pick round 1, round 2 is definitely gone Manaphy. So I do agree with the Manaphy, then Excadrill, Sylveon. It's just amazing in my opinion. Then you have Entei, Mega Manectric, Amoonguss, Crobat, Tyranitar, which is still round 8 as I said, Klefki and Duxie. Real weakness I can see is ground weakness. But then you have Crobat and Duxie. If you didn't pick Uxie and picked something that wasn't immune to ground, it would be a lot of trouble to switch in things like Garchomp, for example, that JJ has. Mm-hmm. But since you do have Excadrill that gets Mold Break, I don't think there's another ground type with Mold Breaker that can hit super hard. So Uxie was a really safe pick. I really like you said, you have priority. You have two ways of Arzer removal in Crobat and Excadrill, Defog and Rapid Spin. I really love this team. Spec Sylveon. It's amazing. It's really hard to switch in on this team, to be honest. And if you get the sand going with Excadrill, then you also have Manectric, Crobat, and Uxie for a full turn core. You can either go with a slow U-turn or a super fast U-turn or volt switch. I really love this team, to be honest. I gave him an 8.
Yeah, I'm right with you on that. I think it's a really, really strong one. So next up...
Okay, never mind.
No, go ahead, man.
Go on.
Okay, well, to answer the Uxie thing, I basically just saw that I had one resistance to ground in Crobat, and I didn't want just one resistance, and Uxie gave me a really defensive ground immunity and also gave me another Stealth Rocker so I wouldn't have to take it on T-Tar every single week.
Uxie is like a mini Mew, basically. It gets a lot of good moves that can help a team function. It gets screens, slow U-turn, T-Wave as well, I think it gets.
Yeah, it has a lot of nice little support options, which is why I wanted it.
Yeah, I mean that's actually a good point to bring up that little bit more defense flexibility.
I think it's also the bulkiest of the 3 picks, is it not?
It is.
Yep.
I was swapping over that or Mesprit, but I decided that I had enough offense and I just wanted something that could take a ton of hits.
Yeah, I think it's a good call. So next up we have me. I'm the Seattle Sandshrews. My team is, we'll go over me quick. Dragonite, Skarmory, Raikou, Arcanine, Mega Gardevoir, Tornadus Therian, Minechow, Politoed, Kingdra, and Ludicolo. So just my thought process when I did this is I had the 5th pick, and I've always really liked Dragonite. So I just took that, and then I kind of just went from there. The Dragonite Steel combo is really good. So I felt like I had good synergy there. I liked getting Arcanine because he's versatile. Mega Gardevoir is just a monster. And then I wanted to go...
I agree.
Thanks. My main strategy after a few rounds was I wanted to get basically a team that could be useful on its own and stand by itself. And then I got Rain at the end just to kind of make people plan a little bit more and be able to bring Rain in, which I think is really good. So that was my thought process. So, Esky?
I mean, I really like this team. People will look at it and just see a rain team because you do have Tornadus, Therian, and Raikou, also Dragonite that benefit from the rain. But if you decide not to bring rain and people prepare for it, they're gonna get screwed. That's for sure. I think Dragonite round 1 was a bit rushed, to be honest. I think you could get it a bit late and maybe get something better in round 1. But you did get the team. They're like, I love Mega Gardevoir. I'm a huge fanboy. I have it myself.
That's right.
Arcanine, Raikou, and Skarmory, they can work together. And then you have Micho, hits super hard. Politoed, Kingdra, Ludicolo for that mini rain team. It's a really solid draft. What I didn't really like was that you don't have many Hazard options. You only have Skarmory. But then if you do get Hazard on your side, you have to defog. So that was kind of my only bad point about your team. But overall, it's really good. I gave it an 8.
Yeah, I get Skarmory a lot just because I hate having to put hazard removal and hazards on dudes. I don't like planning that part of it, so I'm just like, I'll just throw it on Skarmory. He'll do both. That gets me into trouble. Merc, what do you got?
I really like this team, given an 8. It's got a good amount of speed control, which I really like. The 2 Swift Swim options, and then you've got stuff that's relatively fast in Mienshao and Guard, and then you've got things that are really fast in Raikou and Torn T. I just really like this. You've just got a nice mix of everything. Wall breakers, not a ton of bulk, but you have a lot of options of things that can be bulky and defensive pivot things like Tornadus. So I really liked just the overall look of this team, and definitely late rain is something that is going to put a lot of people in trouble.
That was my big problem when I got to like round 7. I was like, oh crap, I have 0 defense outside of Skarmory. But I mean, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I definitely like having a good bit of bulk after not drafting any last season and going 0-4.
Yep.
So.
Bulk is always nice. I learned that last season as well. I didn't have any. I only had Vaporeon and Kofericus for the bulk, and that was all I had.
Yeah, that was last season. I learned to put more of an emphasis on defense, and then I had 1 loss all season. So now I'm gonna go the opposite of what I had success with. So good call by me, probably. I'm sure it's gonna be great.
I mean, it's really solid on paper. Let's just see how it works after.
Yeah, it'll be fine. So next up, we have the California Caracastas, who is coached by Eli. He's got Mega Sableye, Talonflame, Landorus T, Tentacruel, Reuniclus, Heracross, Heliolisk, Tyrantrum, Tangrowth, and Sharpedo. So I thought he had a relatively strong draft. I gave him a 7. I really like his defense. Landorus T is obviously always really good. Fell a little bit this season, usually goes earlier. Tentacruel is a good spinner. Reuniclus is always a problem for people. Tangrowth is actually pretty underrated. I think he can do well. I liked how he mixed up his typings. Talonflame is obviously a problem. Mega Sableye is going to make people hate him a lot, I think, throughout the season. So I thought he had a solid draft. It's just I didn't like where he drafted a lot of his things. Tentacruel and Uniclus, I think, were way too early. I think he could have gotten them a lot later. Even Heracross, you don't usually see get drafted very early.
Especially Mega Sableye round 1, I think was too early.
Absolutely. I think it's huge that he got Talonflame round 2, but definitely reach for Mega Sableye. So I didn't like when he picked certain things. But other than that, I really liked his draft. What do you guys think?
Definitely the team selection, the order was a little weird, but it really doesn't matter outside of when you're actually planning for it, because he's got a lot of threats. He's got a decent amount of bulk. One problem is that aside from Mega Sableye and Uniclus, he doesn't have much bulk outside of that, and Sableye is something that's really, and Tangrowth, but Mega Sableye is going to be his main defensive Pokemon, and it's a thing that you kind of have out of experience. You really need it to be at full health at all times for it to function as a wall, since it's so slow.
Yeah, losing that Prankster is the biggest problem with it.
But it's got some nice versatility. Got a lot of good Mons. I really like Heliolisk. Tyrantrum's also a really good Pokemon, and it's just solid. So I'll give it a 7.
I love the Sharpedo pick at the end. Sharpedo's a really big threat that people tend to sleep on a little bit, and then he ends you like in 4 turns. Yeah. So I think it's a really good last pick for him to help round out his draft. Esky, what do you got?
I gave this team a 7. Like I said, and you guys said, I don't really agree the rounds where he picks some mods, but that doesn't really matter if you get a team that you're happy with. But one thing that I really like on this team is that the potential for a Trick Room team is amazing. He has Legendary Steed that can be under a Trick Room. He has Mega Sableye. I think or something like can do some work under a Trick Room. Has Heracross as well, and Tyrantrum, and he's like a fucking truck. Then he also has a bit of speed in the Heliolisk and the Sharpedo after Speed Boost, and Talonflame. He has a really solid team. What I don't agree is that, although he does have Mega Sableye with the Magic Bounce, his only way to remove hazards is Tentacruel. And when you have a Talonflame, I don't think Tentacruel is the best option for a spinner. I think you could get something better at round 4. But overall, I think it's a really solid draft. And it's going to be hard to prepare for it, because he has a lot of options to go for.
Yeah, I think running the potential to run Talonflame in a Trick Room team is actually pretty scary because he still has that priority.
Yeah.
So next up we have the Atlanta Arcanines. Right? Arcanines? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Didn't want to mess that up. That is coached by Nick or Greninja Gaiden. So his team is Latios, Greninja, Lucario, Florges, Ferrothorn, Zapdos, Nidoking, Mega Aggron, Goodra, and Ditto. So I initially didn't like this draft when I looked at it, but then the more I looked at it, the more I really thought it's pretty solid. I gave him a 7. My not nitpick, but what I didn't like is I don't love his defense. He's got Ferrothorn, Florges, Goodra, and Mega Aggron, I guess, but I think those can be planned for all decently easily on their own, and I don't think they can do too much. They're not very versatile, so I just didn't love that. But I do like the Ditto pick at the end. I thought that was really, really strong. Ditto always causes problems just when he just copies your... Like, if I face him and I have a +2 Dragonite out, it's done, because he's just going to bring Scarf Ditto and end me. So it's something you always got to be careful about when you have sweepers. I think the Latios and Greninja picks at the start were solid. Even XY set Greninja can be good. And Lucario... definitely reached a little bit, picked it too early, but I think it's a really strong sweeper when you said it right.
Yeah, I definitely think he's got a lot of good things going for him. It's not the flashiest or best draft, definitely a solid 7 or 6.5, but he's got some really good offensive pressure given out by Lottie and Grant and Lucario, and he does have a better back. I also think that Zapdos offers a defensive backbone for the team. And getting Nidoking round 7 is pretty impressive, since Nidoking is so hard to prepare for in this league with its power and versatility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's overall just pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was kind of torn between a 6.5 and 7. I just gave him a 7. He started off really well with Latias and Greninja. A good speed there, and they both hit super hard, especially Greninja with that protein. Lucario was too early. I think he could get it around round 8, 7, something like that. He could pick up something better. What I don't really like was the Mega Aggron pick. I don't see the point of it. I know he might want to go for the bulk, but he had Lucario, Fairthorn, Nidoking already, and pick Mega Aggron. He's building a ground weaknesses there, but he only has Latios and Zapdos, and if somebody catches Zapdos on the roost, it's also a weak to ground. I hate the Dido pick, to be honest. I never saw Dido working, so I'm not the biggest fan.
It's
Guja
a little
round
slow,
9,
which causes the issues for it.
yeah,
It definitely can be good, but
Yeah.
it's very situational.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Guja round 9, I love that pick. It's really solid, but it's another dragon. He also has Latios, but overall, I think he picked well for. I think it's his first league draft, so I think he picked really well. Another thing that I don't like is that he has Fairthorn, and that can set up all types of hazards apart from Toxic Spikes, and he has no Rapid Spinner, only has Defogger. So if he wants to go with hazards and then somebody brings hazards also, he has to defog. Then I don't know. I think he should have picked probably a spinner over a defogger as his other controls.
That's fair. Yeah, he's got those few common weaknesses to it you guys mentioned. He's got 3 to fire, 3 to ground, so that can cause him some issues.
At least he picked Nidoking because the likes of Nidoking and Nidoqueen completely destroyed this man's team.
It's true. Yeah, actually, that would be a huge problem against them.
Yeah.
So next up, we have the Slade Port Vale, who's coached by Josh, or Squirtacular. My round 1 opponent. Josh drafted Victini, Clefable, Gliscor, Slowking, Roserade, Terrakion, Crawdon, Kyurem Normal, Magnezone, and he took the Rufflet with the last pick. Esky, let's get your thoughts first.
I mean, I love his draft. To be honest, Victini is amazing. I picked it myself. It's really hard to switch in Victini, and then round 2 to 5, he picked Clefable, Gliscor, Slowking, and Roserade. That is bulk behind bulk. That will be super annoying to play against. Then he picked Terrakion and Groudon that hits super hard, especially Groudon has the strongest knockoff in the game. Kyurem and Magnezone. Rufflet, I understand it's a joke pick, but it's a joke pick that it can put in a lot of work with hustle.
From what I understand is that he's gonna use it when he can, and I'm really interested to see if it works.
Maybe
It'll be
Brave
cool.
Year would probably be better.
Yeah.
On this team. One thing I don't like is that apart from the said Rufflet and Gliscor, he has no hazard control, and for Gliscor to run defog, it has to abandon Toxic Heal. So
Right.
I don't really like that, but overall, his team will hit super hard, and that defensive core is just disgusting.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I gave him an 8. I thought he had one of the stronger drafts in the division just from his power and defensive versatility. But like you said, not having a lot of reliable hazard control is going to be a problem. Just especially for stuff like Victini and Roserade, who's really frail, Crawdon's even, and Kyurem. I thought his 6 through 9 picks from Terrakion and Magnezone was the strongest late drafting of any team in the entire division.
Yeah,
even more than Matt. I think, or maybe not Matt. More than the normal teams. Just because those are all 4 really, really hard hitting, somewhat versatile, strong guys that he can really work well. They have good synergy even with those guys. So I think that's where he got the main part of his draft. Yeah, like I said, I gave him an 8. Thought it was good. The Rufflet, we'll see if it works. I don't know. He thinks it will. We'll see. I mean, he's used good stuff in the past.
I also really like this team. I'd give it an 8. It's just a good showcase of a bulky offensive team that Clef, Gliscor, Slowking, they all cover their weaknesses pretty well. And Victini, Tarak, Crawdon, Kyurem, Magnezone, all great wall breakers. One thing that could be a problem is he doesn't really have much in the way of a cleaner. Even with things like Victini, the most likely move you're going to spam is V-Create, which lowers your speed. So speed could be an issue, but he definitely has options for Trick Room, and it's definitely more of a bulky offense kind of team. And he does have Tarak, which can be a revenge killer, but this is a really good team, and it's going to be a team that's going to be difficult to break down as well as be able to switch into things.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's going to have a lot of good switches and hard for people to switch into it. But yeah, his speed is a problem. Uh, so next up, we have the Chaos Hydreigons, who's coached by Magma, or I think Flaming Comet on Twitter. He has Latias, Breloom, Megalopunny, Suicune, Porygon 2, Golbat, Registeel, Meloetta, Dragalge, and Azelf. So I thought his draft was okay. I gave him a 6. I thought he wasn't one of the stronger drafts in the division. I just didn't like that he doesn't have much offense. He's
Yeah,
got the Breloom, Megalopunny at the start are both really strong, but they share common weaknesses with that fighting type, which is a problem. He's got that flying weakness that can cause some issues for him there. But then outside of those two, his offense kind of falls off. He's got, I guess, Meloetta, Latias, kind of.
And Azelf is also pretty strong.
Yeah, he's got the Azelf.
Dragalge is really hard to switch in now with the adaptability. So
True, that thing will
there's
hit hard.
that as well.
And
It's not the fastest thing, but it hits super hard.
yeah, I just thought he didn't. I just don't love his offense, and then he also doesn't have a lot of speed outside of really the Mega Lopunny. So I don't love where he went with that.
Looking at a draft standpoint and a synergy standpoint, his synergy is really bad, to be honest. He's got 3 psychic types, and he's got, I believe, 3 normal types, so he's just got a lot of type stacking, which doesn't make a lot of sense, and things like Azelf and Meloetta and Latias, they all serve similar roles as strong psychic attackers, and Breloom Megalopunny. He's got a lot of good picks, but just the synergy of the team is off for sure.
Yeah, I agree there. I think that his team is really gonna struggle against strong. For example, against Josh's team, for example, Groudon, his team will really struggle against it because he has Porygon 2 and Golbat that as soon as they lose their Eevee lives, they're not as strong as they are. He has Azelf, Meloetta, and Latias that will just drop to a knockoff. He has Suicune. I really like Suicune. I don't think it's as good in the draft-based league as it is in normal play. I love the Dragalge pick round 9. I'm a fanboy of Dragalge. I really love it. Breloom and Megalopunny, I don't see the idea behind it. I gave his team overall a 7 because this draft compared to what he drafted last season is much better. That's for sure. But I think that synergy overall is not there. Just wait to see what he does with this team.
All right.
Yeah.
It's a good point with the knockoff weakness, and then he, like Merc, like you said, he's got so many common weaknesses that people can exploit when they plan for him.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, we have the Carolina Nidokings, who's coached by Blackleaf. He has Scizor, Megazard X, Rotom Wash, Jolteon, Cresselia, Hydreigon, Snorlax, Staraptor, Diancie, and Tornadus Eye. So Esky, what do you got for this one?
I mean, I don't understand the pick behind Jolteon in round 4. Maybe he just wanted a fast electric type, but he already drafted Rotom Wash the turn before. His team, his only way to remove hazards is Staraptor and Scizor whenever you have a Charizard before Mega Evolving to Charizard X, which is 4 times. Weak is not what you want. He also doesn't have any other like ways to set up. I think only Diancie gets Stealth Rocks on his team. That's about it. As for his walls, Cresselia and Snorlax are gonna be super annoying.
I'm really pissed about that already, and I haven't faced it yet.
Cresselia is gonna
as well.
be
Yeah,
super
absolutely.
annoying. Yeah. But he also has the likes of Charizard X and Staraptor that can just completely rip teams apart. Tornadoes A round 10, I think it's a solid pick, to be honest. Because it does get that Prankster bulk up and set up. So if a team is not ready, that Tornadoes can really put in work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely, Merc.
I really like this team at a few standpoints, and I disagree with it at a few others. First of all, I really like his offense and his synergy and all that. He's got 3 really annoying walls, and he's got a lot of pressure. He's got 2 strong dragon types, which is always really good to if you have stackable types sometimes to break down opposing checks. And he just has a lot of good offensive Pokemon and things like that. But the problem is, like you said, bad hazard removal. He'd have to be running Defog Charged X, which would be awful, or Defog Scizor.
Yeah,
but or Defog Staraptor. So not good hazard control, and he doesn't have any good hazard setters. But aside from that, his team could be good, but definitely Stealth Rocks are going to be a humongous problem for this team.
Yeah, I think you guys nailed it. Is that his offense is really, really strong, and his defense is really strong, but everything in between isn't great. I mean, he's got good speed. He'll hit you hard. All your walls are going to be pressured.
One thing that I see that he's probably going to do a lot is he's going to run his Scizor a lot of the games defensively just so he can get that defog off. I don't see him bring offensive Scizor. His Scizor is definitely not good. It's not going to be as good as it should be. I feel like I got that feeling that he's not going to. He's definitely going to use that Scizor a lot more defensively just for that defog.
Yeah, you're right. He's going to have to. And like he's got good synergy with his guys, but it's tough.
It's going to be the run Scizor defensively or basically start every game with Charizard just so he can get the Mega out of the way straight away.
Yeah, you're right. And then like with the one thing with his defense is just like my nitpick about it is that he's got Cresselia, Snorlax, and that's really it. And and Rotom. But you can plan for that. You know you can bring a physical attacker who has knockoff, and he's in trouble with that. So I think he might be able to think of ways around it, but I think it's just really easy to plan when you don't have that much defensive versatility.
I also think that I just noticed that he basically has no knockoff switches. He has Diancie, but Diancie is not the best in my opinion because it's normal Diancie, so it's going to be super slow. It's not going to do much after. So he has Hydreigon as well, but Hydreigon wants to keep that Life Orb or that Specs or even that Scarf so he can put in the work.
Right. Yeah, non-scarfed Hydreigon is a problem usually. I gave him a 7? Yeah, I gave him a 7. So I thought it was a solid draft, not the best.
I'd give him a 7 as well. It looks really good right off the bat, but the more you dig into it, the more problems you see.
Yep. So our second to last team is the Rhydons, who's coached by one of my favorite people in the league, Ab, but this is also my least favorite team in the division. Not in terms of how good or bad it is. I think it's really, really strong, but I already know I'm just going to be so pissed off when I face him. He's got Mega Scizor, Mew, Heatran, Mandibuzz, Hawlucha, Whimsicott, who's just, Gothitelle, Diggersby, Slowbro, and Thunderous Tea in the 10th round, which is a great pick. So I gave him an 8. I think he's got one of the strongest teams in the division. I think his bulk is infuriating. Like his first 4 picks are really, really bulky, strong dudes that can hit you back pretty hard, with the exception of Mandibuzz. He's got obviously Mew, the most versatile poke in the entire game. Whimsicott's always a problem. He doesn't have a ton of offense outside of Thunderous and Diggersby. I guess he does with Mega Scizor too, but that's not going to matter when you can't damage him. What do you guys think, Merc?
This team is just going to be hell to plan for and to play against. Mew is such a mixed bag to prepare for, even though definitely its best role, from what I've gathered, is as a defensive thing. But he's got his bases covered, which is really good. He's got hazard setup, and he's got lots of hazard removal, which I want to say he has more defoggers than anyone in 4, which is insane.
Yeah.
And then late Slowbro and Gothitelle, which is... He's got so many things that are just really annoying to plan for and play against. Gothitelle and Whimsicott are just there to be annoying and disrupt your own timing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm glad I don't face this team because it will be a problem to prepare for. Mandibuzz, Slowbro with Whimsicott core, it's just annoying. To be honest. And Heatran.
So stupid.
Mega Scizor, I think he could wait a bit, to be honest. But I think he originally wanted Mega Mawile, but since it's banned, I think he went with Mega Scizor.
Yep.
As in hazards, he only has, I think it's Heatran. I don't think Diggersby gets rocks.
Mew.
He also
Diggersby actually gets spikes. I'm not sure about rocks, but...
He's got the Mew too.
Spikes. I didn't know that. But I don't think Mew gets Rapid Spin. I think it only gets Defog.
He gets rocks though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but...
so...
with a lot of, like a lot of teams, the only way to remove hazards is defog. So if he wants to set up his own hazards, he's probably going to have to defog them later. But overall, he's a solid team. It's not the fastest team, but he has the bulk to go bulky offensive with, like I said before. And then he has Thunderous Tea that after a +2 in just a monster to face.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Also,
thought,
a lucha. If you don't prepare for it, it's gonna sweep you.
He
yeah,
also does
I
have
think it's
a
underlooked.
strong amount of priority in Quick Attack Diggersby and Mega Scizor,
Yeah,
which is and also with Whimsicott as Prankster, so he's got a lot
and
of
also
good
has
options
that
to
God
control
Tail that
speed.
can just trap things that he doesn't want to face
Yeah,
and just get over
he can
with.
plan well with that. I think
Yeah.
my only criticisms, the only thing that stopped him from getting to a 9, was the fact that, like you said, Merc, he's not very fast. Hawlucha with Unburden's really quick, but you got to set that up. Whimsicott, but you're not too afraid of it. It's just a pain in the ass when he's going to sub-siege you to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only other thing was that he does have a bunch of common weaknesses that he shares. He's got a bunch of ice. He's got a couple dark and ghosts. So I think he's good enough that you can plan around stuff like that. Like he's obviously not going to bring all of his dark weaknesses when he faces Weavile, but that can cause some issues when he's planning. Can limit his switches a little bit, even with that defense. So I think that's the only thing he's got to look out for. But other than that, I thought he had a terrific draft, and I'm so angry that I have to face this team at some point.
Especially knowing up that he's amazing at preparing, so it's
Yeah.
definitely gonna be a hard task for you guys.
It was really hard because like trying to evaluate him independently of who the coach is, but then I'm always thinking like, oh shit, that Mew is gonna destroy me. Like I already know.
Yeah.
So like it's hard
Mew
to
is
rate.
another thing. I want to see how he uses Mew because every time I see Mew, people always say that he's the most versatile one, but I never saw Mew live up to that expectation.
The
So
first
I'm really
four
expecting to see how
seasons,
he does.
the first 4 seasons of this league, I think Tyler had him basically every season, and Tyler was a sorcerer at when he had how he would use Mew. The first season he ran an SD baton pass Mew turn 2 and 6-0 the guy in 8 turns. Or something like that. So when you use it right in your
I
creative,
mean,
which
who
ad
didn't
is,
get 6 by Tyler in the season 1?
it's true.
We're all
Yeah,
basically a new noob,
dude,
so
dude slaughtered us. Yeah. So that's just if he's really creative about it, that thing's going to be a problem, and it's always
Yeah.
annoying. So last up, we have the Chicago Chub Chews, who's another team that made it through the tryouts. Ab did as well, but he was here a few seasons ago, and that's coached by Yumi, who's a new coach. So his team is Jirachi, Azumarill, Mamoswine, Empoleon, Donphan, Salamence, Celebi, Emboar, Umbreon, and Mega Alakazam with his last pick. So we'll go Merc. What did you think about this one?
I want to give it a 7. First and foremost, I absolutely despise. I really don't like his hazard removal. Neither Donphan or Empoleon are good Pokemon at all, in my opinion. I really like the Jirachi, Azumarill, Mamo, and Salamence from the offense, but I definitely see some common weaknesses. He's really bug weak. He'll have to rely on things like Salamence and Empoleon to take those hits, but he definitely has some common weaknesses, and his hazard removals are definitely easy to kill, in my opinion.
yeah, especially because they don't have reliable recovery. I think only Celebi gets it, and Umbreon, yeah.
Celebi, Umbreon, and Salamence.
If he wants to roost Salamence, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He's limited with that.
Mm-hmm.
So you gave him a 7. Esky, what'd you give him?
I actually gave him an 8 for the last draft because he was last. He actually has a really solid team. Also to the fact that this time we don't have as much teams, but it's still a really solid team for being last. Jirachi and Azumarill can be super annoying, especially Jirachi. I hate facing that. Mamoswine is just incredible in this format because basically deals with the most dominant cores in Fire Ward, Grass, and Dragon Steel Fairy.
Yeah.
It hits them super hard. Like Burke said, Empoleon and Donphan as his way to hazard removal, and Salamence, they're not the best in my opinion. I also have Donphan, but why I don't like it is because he's both ways to hazard remove. They both don't get reliable recover, so if you put them low, they'll probably just die to hazards before spinning or defog them away. I love Celebi at round 7. I think it's a steal, to be honest. Umbreon, I like Mega Alakazam. It gives him what he was missing, which is speed. But his team is like he has Mega Alakazam, then he has a big gap between Alakazam and the likes of Celebi, Salamence, and Jirachi, which has base 100. And then he has another big gap until Mamoswine. So that would be interesting. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are going to exploit that.
Yeah,
I think it's a really good point.
Definitely the weird speed tiers. Yeah. will allow the players who speed creep to get a lot of bulk onto their Pokemon, since nothing's outspeeding Mega Alakazam anyways.
Yeah, I'm right with you guys. I think his defense could have been a lot better. Empoleon and Donphan aren't. I don't think they're as bad as you think, Merc. But I think in this format, you're right that they're really limited. You know what they're going to do, and they're really easy to plan for. And he's got too many common weaknesses for my liking. He's got a bunch of electric, a bunch of water, a couple fires, and just so that's going to be some problems for him. Just picking the right team to not get destroyed by certain things. I love his last two picks. I thought Umbreon, Mega Alakazam at the end were both really strong. I'm surprised they both fell.
I agree.
But other than that, the rest of his draft, like Emboar is fine, I guess. Like I know he hits hard, but not a big fan. So I think his draft is okay. I thought his first three picks were phenomenal, and those guys are going to carry him. He had a good start and a good end to the draft, but everything in between kind of fell a little bit short. But we'll see how he does. Kind of like it.
He also has a lot of nice priority in Azumarill, Mamoswine, and Sucker Punch Emboar.
True.
Celebi also gets Sucker Punch. And he also has Pokemon that can set up pretty well, like Azumarill, Salamence, and even Celebi can set up a nasty plot or Swordsdance. And of course, Mega Alakazam with those Calm Minds that just make it super scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I think he did solid for being at the end of the draft and being his first season in the league. And I'm looking forward to see how he does with this team.
He has had league experience before in different places.
Gotcha.
That definitely explains it then. Because being a last person to draft, he has a really solid draft.
Yeah, I think
everybody overall drafted really well, and with only 12 people and no tier restrictions, which is what I love about this league, it's very easy to get a good team.
Yeah,
it's more about who has the best of the really good teams, which is me. But
no, I think it's me though. 15 and 0 boys
in the other.
Big Don fan.
15 and 0 boys.
Big Don fan. Yeah, I mean
I
was looking through.
I'm gonna talk tomorrow about it, but
right, we'll get to the red one.
You don't have switch-ins for it. That's all I'm saying.
Looking through like everybody's draft, I was much more positive on drafts than I was every other time I've done this review. But that's just because, like you said, we went from 16 teams per division to 12, and that difference is huge. That's like 30-something other Pokemon that are just out there now. So that's why you're seeing so many good guys go late and so many guys not even being drafted. So I'm really excited to see how this concentration of strong guys really works out. So I'm pretty excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be great competition this season.
This season is going to be amazing.
Looking forward to it. So
just so you guys have an idea, for example, in Red Division, the likes of Mega Lopunny, they didn't get drafted. So there's that.
That was crazy to me. I couldn't believe it didn't get drafted.
Yeah, and also things like I picked up Tyranitar in round 8.
Yeah, and even like Altaria round 6. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Mostly everything that Matt did from round 6 on.
Keldeo, I couldn't even believe. When Matt said that he wanted Keldeo, I was like, I think this got big before, but it didn't.
Yeah, it didn't. So that is going to be it for us from the Blue Division draft analysis. Merc, Esky, thank you so much for joining me, guys. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I will be back soon, hopefully in the next couple of days, with the Red Division with Skyrander and Eric, Ash, and Akai. So thanks a lot, guys, and we will see you next time.
Take care.